What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Hardcore and the Casual podcast, the first episode of 2025, and we are joined today by Elijah. I am your host, Justin. I am the last champion of 2024 because Alexander Usyk beat Fury. So, you just bet wrong once again, another week in a row. Pretty sure I'm going on like 10 weeks holding this belt.
Usyk really exposed Fury twice.
Yeah, he did.
In the heavyweight division.
But, I mean, those are Fury's only 2 losses, so I'm sure he's going to come back. It was basically the same fight as the first one, so we're not going to go over it much. We've got bigger and better things. We have our award ceremony for 2024 to get into right now. It's the first week of 2025. Nothing has happened yet. Seems still kind of topical to talk about 2024. Yes. So we're going to go into our award show. It was supposed to be released last week. Some things got in the way. We're here now giving you guys our award show. We've got a bunch of categories. We're going to go through them, and we're going to give you all who we think our awards should go to. So, first up for the night, upset of the year. Elijah, would you like to give your upset of the year?
Upset of the year. Bilal Muhammad becoming champion.
That's a good one. Was he the underdog in that fight? These are our own personal lists, so It doesn't really matter if they were underdog or they were. It's our personal feelings. Like, I gave Bilal no shot to win that match. But he did. Yeah. So if that's your own personal belief, then that is fine. I went with Volkov over Sergey Pavlovich because that was crazy. I thought Sergey Pavlovich was going to put Volkov out cold. Volkov ended up winning that fight. I also had runner-up Brandon Royval over Taishiro Taira. Thought that was pretty crazy that Taishiro Taira didn't win that. And then Anthony Smith over Vitor Petrino. That one was kind of crazy. I gave Anthony Smith no shot.
Was it Volkov who fought Cyril Gane?
Yes.
Yeah, him too.
Him too?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we have a category for robbery of the year. Robbery of the year. That was Gane versus Volkov.
Robbery of the year.
Yeah, Volkov versus Gane, robbery of the year. I don't think there's anything even close to that. Volkov won that fight. Cyril Gane did not win that fight. I'm sure if I thought a little bit more, it's not one of our categories. We kind of went for a more positive vibe to our awards. We didn't really go for anything too negative. But we will move on. Non-fight moment of the year.
Non-fight moment of the year. We're going to have to go with the whole Alex Pereira, Herb Dean. The whole back up and boom, knocks out
Technically
Jamal.
Was in the middle of a fight, but I will count it because it was during a pause in the fight. And that is a good non-fight moment of the year. Yeah. I put the Sphere just as a whole. Yeah. The Sphere was crazy. But I also put, for my runner-up, Joe Rogan and DC not remembering the name. Mainly DC not remembering the name of Bilal Muhammad when he won the belt. But also Joe Rogan saying, the security don't even know he's champ. Let him in. Both of those were hilarious moments to me.
You know who else I have? I have I have Dreykus making both Sean Strickland and Izzy cry in 1 year.
Yo, that is good. that is pretty good. He did make them both cry in 1 year. All good non-fight moments of the year. But what about the event of the year, Elijah?
Event of the year?
I think we're both going to go with the same one. If anyone doesn't go with this specific one, I think it's kind of crazy. Because UFC 300 was this past year. UFC 300. Runner-ups, 308 was good. 299 was good. 306, the Sphere. All good cards.
I think 302 was good.
It was top-heavy. It was Strickland versus Paulo Costa and Islam versus Poirier. Can you name me another fight on that card?
I can't name you another fight, but I did watch those fights.
The energy was good. The energy in the building was good. If we had to do non-pay-per-view event of the year, Colby versus Joaquin Buckley. Last card of the year, fire, like 5 knockouts all in a row, and then the Colby fight. Great event.
Awesome.
Return of the year. I feel like must go to one person. There's one person who returned this year after a little bit of a layoff who had a very good performance, and that man was John Jones. He had a very good performance against Stipe. Old, washed-up Stipe, granted. Still, can you name me a better return this year? Can you?
Especially off an injury at 37.
It was a good return. It was definitely, for me, return of the year.
He dominated the fight.
And I'm thinking you agree.
Yes.
John Jones, return of the year. All right. What about for you? Your personal opinion. Submission of the year.
Okay, I have my 3.
Okay.
I have.
Good. Let's get into this. This is where we can start getting into it a little bit and talk about these a little bit more.
Islam Dustin Poirier as number 1.
That is also my number 1. I will say that right now. That is my number 1.
Number 2, Drake is submitting Izzy as our number 2. And for number 3, Alexander Pantoja submitting Kai Asakura.
Okay. For my number 2 submission of the year, I have Chimaev versus Whitaker. Because he made him tap out basically as soon as he slapped the hold on.
Yeah.
So those two, Islam Dustin and Chimaev Whitaker, those two are my submission of the years by a long shot. Those were good submissions as well. DDP over Izzy. Came after a little bit of a stumble by Izzy, a little bit off balance, a little bit out of it in his mind. And then Kai Asakura, I have no clue about how his submission defense is. Yeah. So honestly, at this point right now, for all we know, a non-ranked fighter could have submitted Asakura that night. Yeah. We have no clue. So I don't give Pantoja too much credit for beating someone who's on his debut, but definitely an impressive submission, though. I mean, he got him in the second round. I think it was the second round. Yeah. So good submissions all around, but Islam with the leg whip into the choke. Man, in the fifth round of a fight, which was a hard fight.
Yeah.
That's impressive to still have that tight of a squeeze in the fourth round or in the fifth round of that fight. That's impressive.
And the whole transition. Mm-hmm. Props to Dustin Poirier for lasting 5 rounds. I really thought he was going to be able to somewhat get it done.
Yeah, I did not. I thought he wasn't going to get submitted in the first round. So very impressed with making it to the fifth. And I think I will be mentioning that fight again in a little bit when we get to another category. Hint, hint. But for now, what about knockout of the year? I've got a lot for this. I've got 5 runner-ups and then my winner. So if you want to get into yours first.
I have the Max and Gaethje.
Okay, that is my number 1. That is my knockout of the year. Max versus Gaethje, knockout of the year.
I have Pereira and Prohaska.
Prohaska. Yeah, the head kick, like right into the second round, first thing, just bang, head kick, whipped it right up, caught him. That was really good.
And then I have when he knocked out Jamal Hill.
Okay. So a lot of sucking off Alex Pereira. I see. Okay. I got you. Call him Nina Drama over here.
It was a card during the summer. It wasn't the main event. I can't think of it. But it wasn't a main event. It was a really big knockout during the summer.
Like Kai Asakura Kai Kara France over Steve Erceg. Was it like a co-main event?
It was a co-main event.
I'm trying to think. I can't even think right now of any. Strickland. I'm trying to think of all the co-main events from the summer. Oh, what about Tom Aspinall versus
Curtis Blades?
Curtis Blades. That was a good one too.
I like that one because Tom Aspinall came out of nowhere, boom, boom, knocked Curtis Blades out. Was able to reclaim the belt.
You're missing a lot of good ones on this list. That's all I'm saying. So for me, Holloway, Gaethje, knockout of the year. I'm not going to go against the grain here. I think we can all agree. Yeah. It was the moment of the year, the knockout of the year, the everything of the year. That moment will live in time forever, and it deserves its props. But some shout-outs to some other ones. Runner-ups. Ziam over Favola. The knee, where he just like spun him around and then caught him with a knee like while he was spinning, and just bang, just like a ton of bricks. Just bang, right over. Epic knockout. Went crazy for that. Share a bullet with the double spinning back fist. That was crazy. I've never seen a double spinning back fist before, and he just nailed him with one. That was a really good one. Dustin the Diamond Poirier over Benoit Saint Denis.
That was a good one.
Come on, man. That hook, man, is unbeatable. If he lands that hook, you're going to bed. That was a really good knockout. Which was also Steve Erceg-esque, which is another one of my runner-ups. Steve Erceg over Matt Snell. Just caught him with a simple left hook. And in flyweights, they don't really knock each other out.
Yeah.
He knocked him out with that left hook. Straight out, unconscious. A very clean left hook. And it was DDPS. Or Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I didn't mean Dracus Duplessis. Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And then my last runner-up, my second place, Ilia Topuria over Max Holloway. Not over Volk. I thought that was a really good knockout too, but I think he upped it when he knocked out Max Holloway. The stakes, Max Holloway had never been knocked out before. The way he did it, rocking him, then knocking him out. It was all around a great performance by Ilia, a great knockout by Ilia. Those are Ziam, Bullet, Dustin, Steve, Ilia, and especially Max Holloway. All deserve shout-outs for their knockouts, as well as the guys you gave your shout-outs to, which was Alex Pereira and Alex Pereira and Alex Pereira and Alex Pereira.
Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, and Tom Aspinall. You know, he's going to have knockout of the year next year when he knocks out John Jones. 2025, guaranteed. Tom Aspinall knocking out John Jones is going to be my knockout of the year. Guaranteed.
And if John Jones beats him.
Not going to happen. I just don't think it will. This is where it starts to get real fun, though. We're going to dig into Fighter of the Year. Oh, no. Fight of the Year. Sorry. Fighter of the Year will come last. Fight of the Year. Who's your Fight of the Year?
Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree.
Okay, it is on my list. I'm not going to say it's not on my list. It's on my list. There are two fights which were the hardcore fans' favorites, and there's two fights that are the casual fans' favorites. The casual fans, I think, would go towards Dustin Poirier versus Islam. Great fight. Great fight. And Alex versus Khalil. Great fight. Great fight. Both of those are on my list. They're both runner-ups on my list. I thought Max and Gaethje was good, but I don't think it deserves to really be in that conversation. It was early on in the year, but slowly throughout the year, I think it faded away from the Fight of the Year conversations. But my two Fight of the Years, Ribeski versus Arabayo was amazing. Knocking down, drag out, bloody brawl. That's the brawler's choice. If you like brawling in MMA and just like throwing people around, brawling, just rock'em sock'em robots, go watch Ribeski versus Arabayo. But if you want to see one of the cleanest master classes in striking, you got to go watch The Sphere. You got to go watch Zellhuber versus Ribovic, which is my Fight of the Year. I have not been as excited for a fight out of nowhere than that fight. I was just sitting here watching The Sphere. All of a sudden, they start knocking each other down. They start whacking each other. Ribeski seems like he thought that Zellhuber was a punching bag for like 5 minutes because he just teed off on him for like 2 minutes straight and then gets rocked by Zellhuber, comes right back into it, keeps on fighting. The third round is going to go down as one of the best rounds of all time. That's how good that round was. So Zellhuber versus Ribovic was my sleeper fight of the year. I'm just going to put it right there. Fight of the year. Great fight. I don't even think I can think of any others. Like those four are far and away the best fights of the year.
Yeah.
But like I said, Alex and Khalil were on my list. I was going nuts. There's a live reaction of me on YouTube with Jake just going absolutely nuts to Khalil versus Alex. So I cannot say it's not one of the fights of the year because it definitely was. It was so hype. But now we're going to get into a little bit more of the technical aspect. I want to hear your Rookie of the Year, Elijah.
Rookie of the Year. Steve Ercik and Pantoja fought at the beginning of this year, right?
Yes, they did. But I think Steve Ercik debuted last year, though. Needs to be someone who debuted this year. There's one answer, and I'm surprised you didn't actually think of this.
Michael Venom Page.
Did he debut this year? I think he might have debuted last year, too.
No, it was this year, right?
He's fought Kevin Holland. I think he fought Kevin Holland this year. And he fought one other guy, which I think he fought last year. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. I have Carlos Pratas because he has 4 knockouts this year, and he debuted this year. Or not this year anymore. It's 2025 now. But in 2024, Carlos Pratas debuted, knocked out Trevin Giles, the Leech, Neil Magny, and Radke, I think his name is Radke. And that all 4 knockouts. There's no one who's had a better first year than Carlos Pratas. He's already in the top 15 in under 12 months, and he looks like a killer. He looks like a monster.
What weight class?
170. Monster.
Doesn't beat Bilal.
Maybe not, but I'm saying right now he looks like a monster. 4 knockouts in 1 year in your debut year is crazy. He's coming out of the Fight Nerds.
Give him Rakhmonov.
I'm in. Maybe eventually. Maybe not right now, but eventually. My runner-up, though, was Kayla Harrison, who also debuted this year. Had picked up, I think, has 2 wins this year over Holly Holm. And who did she beat? Like Moreno Benasilva or something like that, I think.
She's a little older, right?
Yeah, she is. But, hey, she's a rookie, and she did great this year.
Yeah.
So, my runner-up for Rookie of the Year. And you're about to hear her name one more time because we're about to dig into Female Fighter of the Year. My Female Fighter of the Year was Kayla Harrison. She was my runner-up for Rookie of the Year. She was also my Female Fighter of the Year.
Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili, she had 1 fight this year, man, and didn't even finish her. She almost submitted Yao Xiaonan in the first round and then couldn't put her away for 4 more rounds.
It was a technical fight.
It was, but she only fought once this year. I don't know. You gotta give it to Kayla Harrison, yo.
Or I could give it to Raquel Pennington.
That's my runner-up. Raquel Pennington is my runner-up. Won the title this year, and she fucking beat Juliana Pena. I don't care who says that Juliana Pena won that fight. Juliana Pena did not win that fight. Raquel Pennington should have gotten the nod in that decision. She should be Women's Fight of the... It wouldn't have been a question if Raquel Pennington beat... If she actually got the decision over Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington, Women's Fighter of the Year.
Yeah.
Since she didn't actually get given that win, I moved to Kayla Harrison, but Raquel Pennington, runner-up. Great year.
Yeah.
Great year for Raquel Pennington. Her renaissance year, arguably. I actually became a fan of Raquel Pennington this year. I couldn't care less last year. I am a Raquel Pennington fan. I am a Penny, I guess. Is that what her fans would be called?
Penningtons.
Yeah, I'm a Pennington. But yeah, I think it's about that time. I think we should give out our Male Fighter of the Year. And you and I are about to argue because I think we're about to have the same 2 guys, but in the wrong order.
Are you ready?
Go for it. Who's your Male Fighter of the Year?
Ilia Topuria.
Is that your
Alex Pereira?
Who if you had to? Those are my 2. Ilia Topuria and Alex Pereira. What order are they in?
I have Ilia first.
Yes, let's go. Ilia Topuria, Fighter of the Year for the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. Ilia Topuria is the Fighter of the Year. I thought you were going to go with Alex, man. I really did. He's my runner-up, though. Alex Pereira, great year. 3 knockouts in 1 year against some high-level guys for the weight division. Yeah, I mean...
Personally, I feel like DDP had a better year than Ilia Topuria.
But you just put Ilia Topuria as your Fighter of the Year. I'm taking it back now?
I'm going to have to put DDP.
What?
DDP.
Over Alex Pereira?
Yeah, DDP.
Dude, now you're just being ridiculous.
DDP could be Pereira.
Okay. You're getting ridiculous now. Why do you do this every episode to me? You make my brain run on overdrive. No, DDP is not fighter of the year. There are two contenders. It's Alex or it's Ilya.
Yeah.
You could also throw in there if you want Carlos Pratas. You could throw in there if you want Joaquin Buckley. Both got 4 wins this year. Diego Lopez was an early front runner for fighter of the year, but I feel like he's slowly moved out of most people's lists. Just because Pratas and Joaquin Buckley have had such good years. But far and away, there's no beating the 2 best fighters in your division possibly ever.
Yeah.
Ilya Topuria beat Volkanovski and Max Holloway back to back, both by knockouts. One in the third, one in the second, in the same year, which is crazy. The way I look at it is, imagine saying that Randy Couture in the year 2006 was not fighter of the year after beating Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz back to back in the same year. That is the only thing. Like, it would be like if DDP beat Robert Whittaker and Izzy both within the same year, instead of like, he kind of did it within like 365 days. It was a little over that. I think it was like he beat Whittaker and Izzy within like 390 days.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. Still good. Doesn't count though. But beating Max and Volk, who are both GOATs of the division. Not just GOATs of the division. You could have an argument that Max and Volk are in the top 15 all time. Pound for pound, any weight class, top 15. You can make the argument that both of them belong in that conversation.
No.
Yes, you can. Volk and Max, yes, you can. Easily.
Not over Pereira.
But what do you mean?
Not over Pereira.
That's not the conversation I'm having. I'm saying that they both belong in the top 15 all time. And Ilya beat them both within a year. Imagine beating DC and John Jones both within a year. And then people go, oh yeah, but Anderson Silva beat Francis Trinaldo, Sergio Maldonado, and Rico Rodriguez all within a year. Oh yeah, those are great names, right? You've heard of all 3 of those, right?
Yeah.
No, you have not. Name me one person that those guys have beaten. Name me one. I don't even think 2 of those names were real. So
Chris Weidman.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say though, is like Alex Pereira, when you look back in 10 years, you're going to be like, okay, he beat Jamal Hill, Yuri Prohaska, and Khalil Roundtree. Those aren't the greatest names. I barely even remember them. That's how you're going to look back on that. When you look back in 10 years at Ilya Topuria beating Max and Volk, you're going to look back and you're going to go, Ilya Topuria beat Max and Volk in their primes in the same year. That's how you're going to look at it. You're going to be like, what the fuck? You're going to look at it like looking back on Randy Couture beating Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell in the same year, which was crazy at the time, and it's still crazy now. But I can't get over the fact that Alex beat lower-level competition. He finished them all. They were lower-level competition. Ilya beat the 2 best guys in the entire weight class. 2 best guys ever in the entire weight class.
To be fair, if we're talking all time, Jamal Hill is probably one of the best champions the UFC's ever had.
Thank you guys for watching the hardcore. Dude, you make me want to sign off every 5 minutes on this podcast.
John Jones has thought about fighting Jamal Hill.
Because John Jones wants an easy fight. Because he doesn't want the hard fights.
All right, so you're saying Jamal Hill is not a champion?
He is a former champion.
Yes, one of the greatest.
He beat a 42-year-old who was on the verge of 43.
Who beat an upcoming Yuri, who almost beat Yuri. He was whooping Yuri for rounds.
And then he lost. He ran out of steam and he lost. What are we arguing here? Name another guy Jamal Hill has beat. Name one. Don't say Johnny Walker. You'll get laughed at.
Paul Craig.
He beat him. Paul Craig beat Jamal Hill. Name one guy Jamal Hill has
won a kickboxing
Name
champion.
one guy Jamal Hill has beat. Without looking it up, name one guy Jamal Hill has beat. You can't, because he's not a good fighter. He fought Thiago Santos on Thiago Santos.
Oh yeah, he beat him
on a 4-fight losing streak.
He still won the title.
Yeah, off of Glover Teixeira, which was an impressive performance. But he was also a 42-year-old.
And he did it in his home too.
He was a 42-year-old on short notice. Do you forget that that fight happened on 3 weeks' notice? Glover Teixeira had to hop out of bed and start training for 3 weeks at the age of 42. And then he retired. This is not a good win. And then he came back and he got knocked out in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. So, yeah, I don't know. Jamal Hill is not going to be looked back fondly as a champion. Yuri Prochazka is not going to be looked back fondly as a champion. And Khalil Roundtree will probably never become champion.
It's funny, like, just thinking about Glover just being an old man, having to get up out of bed and start training out of nowhere.
Imagine 3 weeks from now. Imagine on January 30th, you had a fight. And now you got to get up and start training for your fight on January 30th.
No time to train.
You
just gotta learn whatever in that.
And now add the fact that you're 42 years old. You're 10 years out of the average prime for a UFC fighter. 10 years. You're 10 years out. And now you got to go fight this brand new guy who's got good kickboxing. Like, yeah, Jamal Hill's got good kickboxing. That doesn't mean that he's actually a good MMA fighter, though. I'm not saying he's not a good MMA fighter. Jamal Hill is a fine MMA fighter. I'm just saying that the record books will not look back at him very fondly.
Jamal Hill's not bad. I see why he pulled out of fighting Roundtree. Roundtree would have definitely beat him.
I think so too. I think Roundtree deserves to be way higher ranked in the division where he is.
I think Roundtree should fight Pereira instead. Roundtree should fight Prochazka.
I think that's good. That's a really fun fight. I think that's a really fun fight. But Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prochazka is already signed. It is happening in less than a month. It's happening in like 2 weeks, something like that.
Didn't both of them have serious career-ending injuries?
Yeah, back-to-back, too. And they both had to vacate the titles back-to-back. The reason Jamal fought for the title against Glover was because Yuri got injured. The reason Alex fought Yuri for the title is because Jamal got injured. So those three names have been like circling each other for years.
Yeah.
And now they're all finally going to fight each other. And we're going to figure out what the pecking order is between Alex, who we're clearly number one, and then Yuri and Jamal. And whoever loses that, Jamal and Yuri, probably never going to see a title again in their life. Probably never going to see a title fight again in their lives. So before we start saying Alex Pereira had this great year and knocked out these three high-level guys, he didn't. He had a good year, knocked out three high-level guys, or three high-level guys for the division for the time that they were fighting in. Not even high-level guys for the division on a whole. Okay. He got knocked out in his last fight against Izzy. That's more impressive.
Beginner's luck.
Beginner's luck? Yeah, Alex Pereira did have beginner's luck. For the first three fights that they fought, that was all beginner's luck.
How? Did you see how he finished him in the 5th round?
We are in understanding that Izzy actually would have won all 4 of those fights. Because he did. Like, he got knocked out in one of those in a fight that he was winning. He got robbed in one of those in a fight that he was winning and should have won. He got robbed. And then in MMA, that fight should not have been stopped. If it went to the decision, Izzy would have won 3-2.
That fight was not going to decision. Izzy was almost finished.
It was 1 minute left in the round. Izzy was still on his feet.
Bro,
We've argued about this a million times.
Listen, he was barely conscious. Alex Pereira was throwing it up. Listen,
who's your champ?
Izzy was like, if Alex would have landed one more, listen, it was better for them to leave that, because if Alex would have flattened Izzy right then and there would be no more Israel Adesanya.
Yes, there would have been. He would have just taken more time off.
He would have never came back from that.
Yes, he would have. He would have, and I genuinely don't see how you could say that that's a good stoppage. Sorry. I'm getting all worked up over here. Nah, I just had a cough. No, but genuinely don't see how you could think that is a good stoppage. It's just not a good stoppage. Yeah. It was a terrible stoppage from, who was it? I think it was Mark Goddard, right?
Mark Goddard.
Yeah. Who's actually known for bad stops. I mean, didn't he was also the guy that had the bad stoppage from Jared Cannonier versus Amavov earlier this year. So, I mean...
Wasn't he for Jared Cannonier and Strickland?
Well, I think he might have been the ref for that, but that went to decision.
No, that was Herb Dean.
That was just a bad... I mean, I don't think that was a robbery. I mean, Jared Cannonier beat Sean Strickland.
Nah, Sean Strickland had him.
You just think that Sean Strickland wins every fight he's in. You think that Sean Strickland beat DDP.
He did.
He didn't, though.
He did.
He lost. We did a review on it.
If you rewatch that fight,
DDP, we did it on the channel. Please go back and watch it. We rewatched it on the channel. We did a fight rewatch.
I had Strickland 3-2.
No, he won. DDP won the middle 3 rounds.
So look, Strickland won
rounds 1 and 5. We've talked about this a million times.
So Strickland won round 1.
Round 1 and round 5. And that's it.
Round 3 was a swing round.
No, it wasn't. DDP won that round. DDP won round 2, 3, and 4. Pretty obviously.
And then Strickland won round 5.
Yeah, he won round 1 and 5. That's it.
And then the middle 3 rounds were all swing rounds.
No, they weren't. They were all clearly to DDP. I don't see how you... We've been over this. We rewatched it on the channel. Go back and watch it. We don't have to go over old things.
DDP for sure won the 3rd round. But the 1st and the 5th...
You just called that one the swing round. What are we doing here? So you just try to get away with it now. You know DDP won.
DDP's the best.
He is the best. Sean Strickland is not. I might bet on Sean Strickland for the rematch. It's a different fight. I mean, I watched Piotr Jan beat the shit out of Aljamain Sterling and think, there's no way Aljamain Sterling could beat Piotr Jan in the rematch. There's no way. Piotr Jan's the best fighter in the world. There's no way. And then in the rematch, Aljamain Sterling won. So, I mean, maybe I'll pick Sean Strickland in the next fight. But we'll get to that in a month, I think. Yeah. That's only a month away. So, we'll get to that when we get to it. But that is it for our award show. We have now given out all of our awards for 2024. It has been a very, very, very good year for the UFC. And I'm looking forward to a very, very good 2025 with all of you fans, with you, Elijah, with me, your host, Justin, of the Hardcore and the Casual podcast. And I think that's it. If you're ready to sign out, I'm ready to sign out. This has been our award show, man.
Alex Pereira, #1 black belt, #1 fighter of the year.
Thanks for joining us for the year. Please don't let him make you unsubscribe. Please. Peace out.